Magalan, home to a civilization of millions. Until the comet hit. Earthquakes shattered its cities. Firestorms swept the planet. And as Magalan fell into darkness, the survivors faced a world that was unrecognizable. Fighting amongst the ruins of the old world, new factions arose. The BERSERKERS, the CLERICS, the OUTLAWS, each with their own vision of the future. But it wasn't only the struggle for scarce old world resources that drove them, for the comet had brought something new. Elex, an element unknown to Magalan. It could fuel technology, change the evolution of life, open new abilities to those with the will to control it. For the clerics, it drove new technological innovation. For the outlaws, drugs to free their minds. To berserkers, it gave the power of magic. Seduced by Elix's power, some began to consume it. Addicted, overwhelmed, most degenerated into vicious, mindless mutants. But there were some who could control their addiction. To them, at the cost of their emotions, Elex offered strength, focus, and stamina. These people called themselves the ALBS. Seemingly unstoppable, the ALBS have waged war on all who will stand between them and their need to obtain Elex. Advancing from the frozen wastes of XACOR and their fortress ice palace, the ALBS threaten the future of all the factions on Magalan. Now, as ALB forces prepare their final assault, Jax, renowned ALB commander, is sent on a solo mission. One ALB, selected to change the fate of Magalan.
Tell me what is happening both immediately and in general in Elex.
Okay, so just where we are at the moment, it's a post-apocalyptic world, so the basic story is meteor crashed onto the planet, destroyed almost everything, but with it a substance called Elex came to the planet, and that then changed everything. Because with Elex, if you consume it, you develop magical powers, you can use it to make weapons, you can use it to operate large machines on it, and it's also the currency, for example, in this world. So basically, dangerous world, and everybody's after that element Elex. We've got a simulated game world. That means that we don't rely on scripting that much, but sword fighting is one of the main fighting styles in the game. But we've also got, of course, then ranged combat. The good thing about our setting is that it allows us to have a really very, very broad range of weapons. So sword with shield, just a sword with a chainsaw attached to it, shotguns, flamethrowers, grenade launchers.
Right.
Everything's in there.
So you're actually seeing some of that AI here, right? Because that lizard creature is not on your side, but not helping them either.
Yeah, right. So basically, every character in the game has a faction, and those factions have relationships. And some of these people just wander around the world, and whenever they meet a monster, they're gonna kill it, for example. And so we never know whether a monster is really somewhere, because the whole world is simulated at all times.
Right.
There's also a full RPG here, so you, for doing quests and killing monsters, you get experience points, you level up. Crafting, enchanting weapons, learning lots of skills, lots of skill trees are here. So basically everything you'd expect from a role-playing game, an open world, it's in the game. And we also want to, what is important for us is that the mechanics of the game are not just there, as they believe that going back to nature and not using any technology, that's the future. Then you've got the CLERICS. They believe that technology, that's the future of the planet. You've got the OUTLAWS, who are just doing drugs and don't believe in anything, just having a good time. And you've got the ALBS. The ALBS, they want all the Elex in the world, and for that they build big converters where they throw everything living into it and squeeze the Elex out of them, so they're the bad guys.
Right.
And the player character is actually one of them in the beginning, but he gets shot down. And one thing I forgot to mention is when you consume Elex, it gives you all these magical powers, but the downside is that you lose all your emotions.
Okay.
And so in the beginning, he's one of those, there's another region where the CLERICS are, and that's where the comet crashed. So there's a lot of volcanic stuff there.
Right.
So you will have both visually and gameplay-wise, they play very, very different.
So it is a post-apocalyptic and a futuristic setting, but it's not an apocalypse in Earth, right? It's not set.
No, so the planet is called Magalan.
Right.
And it is very Earth-like, but it's not Earth. We just didn't want to restrict ourselves to, I remember that,
No half-destroyed Statue of Liberty sticking out the ground.
Exactly, yeah. So we wanted to have that freedom to design a world that works perfectly for the game and not be limited for that. In this demo we can't go inside, but yeah.
We can see a little bit, yeah. So is that the city entirely under the dome that you can see from the distance? The end of the demo.
Yeah,
okay.
Get out, because otherwise it will stop. Yeah, there's a whole story about this dome, and there will be maybe an uprising there. So
maybe.
Well, depending on what you do.
Well, people are going to be upset when they find out the Bombi's dead, that's all I can say. So out in the world, you mentioned crafting and a lot of gear systems, and I've seen, as you've been running around, the opportunity to gather resources and that kind of thing. Is that, I guess, more like the sort of open world RPG traditional sort of set processes? How is the new sci-fi setting informed that kind of thing?
Well, we have both. We have both the fantasy stuff, so you can enchant stuff, you can put in jewels to improve weapons, and you can also then use technology to actually improve all the stuff. So, like I say, it's really, we have both. But crafting and finding stuff, exploration in general, is a very big thing in the game. Just the size of the game world is so big that you can find a lot of stuff there. You can then craft healing potions with all the plants you can find. So
you're using a black hole spell there to
that's
to try and slow this troll down. It didn't seem to work. You come back to the chainsaw.
Chainsaw always works.
Yeah, chainsaw always works. Manipulating gravity, that's of situational use, but chainsaw, always useful. Always useful. So in terms of I know that it isn't a like the level. It's not a level scaled game. So as you travel around the world, you may well encounter things that are too tough. For you, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I played a little bit earlier. Things started well, and then I was killed by a velociraptor, and that was me.
Yeah. As long as you stay on the roads, you're safe, basically. But as soon as you just go off and do whatever you want, then there's the danger that you just meet monsters